welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going all in on regenerative tourism.
Yeah.
Going beyond just sustainability to actually helping those places we visit, thrive and flourish.
Yeah.
We're diving deep into this whole handbook on it, and let me tell you, it's pretty extensive.
Yeah.
Covers everything from like indigenous wisdom to even
Oh, yeah.
delicious Okinawan cheese. Who knew?
That's right. And what's really interesting is this idea of actively healing destinations. It's not just about, minimizing the harm we do. It's about leaving places better than we found them.
Okay, I'm all for leaving things better than we found them, but how do we even begin to do that? I mean,
Right.
the book keeps mentioning this connection to indigenous values as like a guiding principle.
Yeah, well, it's true. A lot of these concepts aren't exactly brand new.
Right.
Author Pauline Sheldon points out that a lot of indigenous cultures have always viewed themselves as, a part of nature, not separate from it. So they've kind of been practicing what we now call regenerative tourism for centuries.
So it's like we're rediscovering these ancient ways of thinking,
Yeah.
but applying them to modern travel.
Exactly. And, Pauline Marie's work talks about how regenerative tourism isn't just about, the places we visit, but it can actually transform us too.
Oh, wow.
It's about shifting our whole mindset, from taking to giving back.
Okay, that's pretty deep.
Yeah.
But, practically speaking, if I'm a business owner, how do I actually do regenerative tourism?
Well, you're in luck because the handbook has this awesome section called the Anatomy of a Regenerative Business.
Okay.
Authors Sheehan, Buhalis, Ladkin, and Ngugi lay out all these key elements. For example, they talk about closed-loop systems, where you're essentially reusing resources like composting to create like this sustainable cycle.
Wait, composting, I get that, but how does that apply to, say, a hotel?
Imagine a hotel that composts all of its food waste, and then they use that to fertilize their gardens. And then they use the produce from those gardens for the restaurant. That's a closed-loop system in action. It reduces waste, it supports those local ecosystems, and it creates a unique experience for the guests.
Wow, that's actually pretty cool. I never thought of composting, on that kind of scale.
Right. And it goes beyond just composting. It's about sourcing materials, ethically minimizing energy consumption, and creating benefits for the local community. It's about thinking holistically about how your business interacts with the environment and society.
But how do we know if this is all actually working? We need some way to measure the impact, right?
Absolutely. You can't just, say you're being regenerative. You have to prove it.
Right.
Asif Hussain's chapter on indicators is all about that.
Okay.
We're talking about tracking things like biodiversity, water quality, even the well-being of local communities.
So it's not just warm, fuzzy feelings. It's about hard data.
Exactly. Without data, you're just guessing. It's like trying to bake a cake without a recipe.
Okay.
You might get lucky, but chances are you're going to end up with a mess.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've got the why, healing the planet and ourselves, and we're starting to understand the how with these regenerative business principles.
Now comes the fun part. Let's see how this is actually playing out in the real world, from hotels to honeybees.
Wait, honeybees, you've got my attention. Let's dive in.
So you want to know how regenerative tourism is really is shaking things up? Well, buckle up, because this handbook is bursting with real-world examples.
Oh, yeah, like what?
We're talking hotels going way beyond, just eco-friendly practices, like entire gastronomic adventures designed to revitalize local food systems. Chapters 8, 9, and 10, it's a whirlwind.
It's like the whole travel industry is getting a regenerative makeover.
Yeah.
But the book also talks about how this goes beyond, just those physical places, right?
Absolutely. And this is where the people involved become so important. Think about tour guides, especially in sensitive nature destinations. Frida Marioma writes about Arctic Norway.
Okay.
And how guides aren't just sharing facts, or like guardians of the environment, cultural ambassadors shaping the whole traveler experience.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
A good guide can really make a place come alive.
Yeah.
And if they're passionate about regeneration, they can really influence how people see and interact with their surroundings.
Exactly. And that can lead to some pretty amazing initiatives. Have you heard about apitourism?
Wait, apitourism? Bees and travel. How does that even work? Tell me more.
Mario Izquierdo Gascon's chapter dives into this, and it's fascinating. It's about way more than just honey.
Okay.
We're talking about promoting biodiversity, educating travelers about the vital role bees play, even getting them involved in like beekeeping activities.
Wow.
It's local development with a buzz, literally.
Wow, that's incredible. I love the idea of using tourism to actually help bee populations.
Yeah.
But I imagine it's not all sunshine and honey, right?
Yeah.
This handbook also talks about challenges.
You're right. It's important to acknowledge that transitioning to regenerative practices isn't always easy. Take Mount Fuji, for instance. Caroline S.L. Tan's work highlights how even with the best intentions, a super popular destination can really struggle with over-tourism.
Right, makes sense. Too many visitors can put a strain on resources and damage the very things people come to see.
Right.
So what can be done about that?
Well, that's where this idea of demarketing comes in.
Wait, demarketing, what is that?
It's kind of a counterintuitive strategy, but the goal is to actually discourage certain types of tourism to protect the destination.
Oh, wow.
So in the case of Mount Fuji, they're trying to limit those casual visits and encourage more mindful, sustainable ways to experience the mountain.
So it's like saying, hey, we love that you love us, but maybe love us a little less intensely.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot where tourism benefits everyone and everything involved, long term.
Okay. I'm starting to see how complex this whole regenerative tourism thing really is.
Yeah.
But are there places where it's like really working? I'm eager to hear about some success stories.
Oh, absolutely. And this handbook is full of them. Let's hop over to South Africa for a moment. Have you heard of Grootbos?
Grootbos. Vaguely. Is that the place known for its like amazing food?
It is. Authors Henny Fisher and Jerry Durand, they paint this picture of how Grootbos has become this incredible model for regenerative food tourism. They're doing everything from sustainable agriculture and conservation to working closely with the local community.
Yeah.
And their food is out of this world.
Okay, that sounds inspiring. But is Grootbos just a one-off, or can this model really work on a larger scale?
That's the question, isn't it? And it's one the handbook tackles head on. Let's jump over to Mexico City for a moment.
Okay.
Chapter 21 dives into the Chinamperra Zone, this fascinating area with a long history of sustainable agriculture,
Okay.
but also facing all sorts of challenges like urbanization and pollution.
So it's like a microcosm of the issues facing a lot of destinations.
Yeah.
Trying to balance tradition and progress, sustainability and development.
Exactly. And authors F. Xavier Medina, Jose A. Vasquez Medina, and Marco Covarrubias, they explore how gastronomy-driven regeneration could be a key to revitalizing this cultural landscape. But they also highlight the risks involved, the potential for things to backfire if it's not done carefully.
Yeah, it's a reminder that there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
Regeneration has to be tailored to the unique context of each place.
Absolutely. Speaking of unique approaches, the book mentions this cool citizen science project in Iceland that really caught my eye.
Oh, citizen science. Tell me more. I love the idea of regular people contributing to research.
Right. So Jessica Aquino and Magdalena Falter describe this project in Snæfellsnes, where tourists actually help collect data about the local ecosystem. It's not just about observing nature, it's about actively participating in its preservation.
That's brilliant. It's like turning tourists into citizen scientists. I bet that creates a whole new level of connection and appreciation for the place.
It does, and it shows how tourism can actually contribute to scientific knowledge and conservation efforts.
Okay, I'm loving all these success stories, but the handbook also talks about, some bumps along the way, right?
Right.
What are some of the challenges holding regenerative tourism back?
It's true. Not every attempt is a perfect success.
Yeah.
Christophe Tomege and Karina Wren dedicate a whole chapter to exploring the obstacles. They talk about how existing structures like outdated regulations or, old school business models can actually hinder innovation.
So it's not just about individual businesses changing. It's about the whole system needing to evolve.
Exactly. Sometimes it's even tourist expectations that need to shift.
Right.
We've all been conditioned to think about travel in a certain way, and those ingrained habits can be tough to break.
That makes sense. If people are expecting, all-inclusive resorts and buffet-style meals, it's going to be a challenge to convince them to embrace a more regenerative approach.
It is, but I think the tide is turning. People are increasingly aware of the impact their travels have, and they're looking for more meaningful experiences.
I agree. I'm seeing that firsthand. More and more travelers are seeking out authentic experiences, connecting with local communities, and wanting to leave a positive impact. It's exciting.
It is, and the handbook doesn't shy away from the challenges,
Right.
but it also paints a really hopeful picture of what's possible. It's like this whole new world of travel is opening up, and it's bursting with potential.
I'm feeling inspired. So where do we go from here? What are some of the big trends shaping the future of regenerative tourism?
Well, one thing that struck me is how incredibly diverse the field is becoming.
Okay.
We've already touched on food and nature, but the handbook goes into things like urban regeneration, wellness, tourism, even coral reef restoration. Chapters 27, 29, and 25 are mind-blowing.
Wow, from cities to coral reefs, it seems like regeneration can happen anywhere.
Mhm.
But with so many different approaches popping up, are there any common threads that tie them all together?
One thing that keeps coming up is the importance of local communities. For example, Magdalena Falter's chapter on the Nordic Arctic talks about how local food culture can be a powerful force for regeneration.
That reminds me of something that really resonated with me in the book,
Yeah.
creative tourism.
Oh, yeah.
Fiona Eva Bacchus makes a compelling case for its role in regeneration. At first, I didn't connect the two, but her perspective is fascinating.
Right. It's about going beyond just sightseeing and actually engaging with local culture in a hands-on creative way.
Mm.
It's about experiencing a destination through the lens of its people and their traditions.
That makes so much sense. It's about fostering genuine connections and contributing to the cultural vibrancy of a place. It's like a two-way street. Travelers are enriched by the experience, and the community benefits from their engagement.
Exactly. It's a beautiful example of how tourism can be a force for cultural preservation and revitalization. But as with anything, there are ethical considerations to keep in mind. Freya Higgins Desbiolais dives into this in her chapter, particularly when it comes to indigenous knowledge.
Oh, absolutely. We can't just parachute in and appropriate indigenous practices without respecting their cultural significance and intellectual property rights.
You're right. It's about building genuine partnerships based on mutual respect and understanding.
Yeah.
It's about ensuring that everyone benefits from regenerative tourism, not just a select few.
Okay, I'm buzzing with excitement about all these possibilities, but I have to ask the practical question. How do we actually make this a reality on a larger scale? It's great to have all these inspiring ideas, but how do we overcome the challenges and make regenerative tourism the norm, not the exception?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And luckily, the handbook doesn't just leave us hanging.
Okay.
Jonathan Day and Catherine Piverol, they dedicate a whole chapter to outlining the roadblocks facing the movement.
So what are the biggest hurdles? What's standing in the way of regenerative tourism really taking off?
Well, they highlight a few key areas.
Yeah.
One is funding. A lot of these regenerative initiatives require upfront investment, and it can be tough to secure the necessary resources, especially for smaller businesses or communities.
Makes sense, especially if you're trying to move away from traditional tourism models that might be more profitable in the short term.
Right.
It's like investing in the future, but it can be hard to see those returns right away.
Exactly. And another big challenge is measuring impact. We talked earlier about the importance of data.
Right.
But it can be really tricky to accurately assess the long-term effects of regenerative practices, especially when you're dealing with complex social and ecological systems.
So how do we know if what we're doing is actually making a difference? It seems like we need better tools and methodologies to track these changes over time.
Absolutely. We need ways to measure not just the environmental impacts, but also the social and economic benefits for local communities. That's where things like community-based monitoring and participatory research come in.
So it's about involving the community in the whole process, not just measuring things from the outside.
Exactly. It's about making sure that everyone has a voice and that the benefits are shared equitably.
Okay, so we've got funding and measurement as two big hurdles.
Yeah.
What else is holding us back?
Well, a big one is awareness,
Okay.
both among travelers and within the tourism industry itself. A lot of people still don't really understand what regenerative tourism is. And even if they do, they might not know how to put it into practice.
So it's not just about changing the way we travel, it's about raising awareness among everyone involved.
Yeah.
From airlines and hotels to tour operators and destination marketing organizations.
Exactly. Chapters 36 and 37 go into this in detail.
Okay.
They talk about the need for, better education and training programs, as well as the role of technology in connecting travelers with regenerative options and making it easier for them to make informed choices.
It seems like this regenerative traveler mindset is so crucial. We need to shift the way we think about travel from like a consumer experience to a more conscious and participatory way of being in the world.
I love that. It's about recognizing that we're not just passing through,
Right.
We're part of the ecosystem, and our actions have this ripple effect.
But how do we foster that mindset shift? It seems like such a huge undertaking.
It is, but I think it starts with storytelling.
Okay.
The handbook emphasizes the power of sharing inspiring stories of regeneration in action.
Hmm.
When people see how tourism can be a force for good, when they experience the beauty and the benefits firsthand,
Yeah.
that's what sparks real change.
That makes so much sense. It's about showing, not just telling. It's about moving beyond abstract concepts and making regeneration tangible, relatable, and inspiring.
Exactly. And the good news is there are so many incredible stories out there waiting to be told. From small community-based initiatives to large-scale transformations, regeneration is happening all over the world, and it's gathering momentum.
I'm feeling hopeful. But what about those practical steps? What can individuals and businesses actually do to move towards a more regenerative future?
Well, the handbook provides some really useful guidance, especially for small and medium-sized enterprises or SMEs.
Okay.
Chapter 35 lays out 5 key constructs, like embracing a holistic worldview, fostering collaboration, and prioritizing community well-being.
So it's not just about ticking boxes or following a set of rules.
Yeah.
It's about a fundamental shift in values and approach.
Exactly. And Asif Hussain and Francesc Fusté-Forné, the editors of the handbook, they emphasize that regenerative tourism is a journey, not a destination. It's an ongoing process of learning, adapting, and evolving. There will be bumps along the way, but it's worth it.
I love that analogy, a journey, not a destination.
Right.
It reminds us that this isn't about achieving some perfect state of regeneration.
Right.
It's about constantly striving to do better, to learn from our mistakes, and to create a more positive impact.
Absolutely, and I think that's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah.
It's not a fixed endpoint. It's a dynamic and evolving process that we can all be a part of shaping.
Well said. And on that note of hope and possibility, let's take a quick break and then come back to wrap up this deep dive into the transformative world of regenerative tourism. Stay tuned, folks. All right, we're back. And I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty energized by all the possibilities we've uncovered.
Yeah, me too.
Regenerative tourism is so much more than just a buzzword.
Right.
It's a whole movement that's changing the way we think about travel.
Uh-huh.
But before we wrap up, let's do a quick recap for anyone who might have just joined us.
Sure.
So what have we learned about regenerative tourism?
Well, it's about going beyond sustainability,
Okay.
beyond, just doing less harm. It's about actively healing and revitalizing those places we visit, leaving them better than we found them.
And it's not just about pretty landscapes, right? It's about making sure that local communities are thriving too.
Absolutely.
We've seen how regenerative tourism can create jobs, support local businesses, and even preserve cultural traditions.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that everything is interconnected, the environment, the economy, the well-being of the people. When one part of the system thrives, everyone benefits.
We've also seen how diverse this movement is, from bee tourism and citizen science projects to incredible food experiences and even creative collaborations.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing to see how people are applying these principles in so many different ways all around the world.
It's true. There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
Every destination, every community has its own unique challenges and opportunities. What matters is that we're asking those right questions, that we're committed to doing better, and that we're constantly learning and evolving.
And let's be honest, there are challenges, right? We talked about funding, about measuring impact, about shifting traveler expectations.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy to transform the whole tourism industry overnight.
No, it's not a magic wand, that's for sure.
Right.
But despite the hurdles, there's this incredible sense of optimism and momentum building around regenerative tourism. More and more people are waking up to the fact that travel can be a force for good.
Yeah.
We can explore the world and make it a better place in the process.
That's what I find so inspiring.
Me too.
It's not just about fixing problems. It's about creating a more beautiful, equitable, and thriving future for everyone.
Yeah.
It's about reimagining what travel can be.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
And it's a journey we can all be a part of.
Right.
Whether you're a seasoned traveler or just starting to explore the world, there are things you can do to make your trips more regenerative.
Yeah, for sure.
Do your research, support businesses that are walking the talk, and be mindful of your impact.
Yeah.
Every little choice we make, from where we stay to what we eat, can make a difference.
Absolutely.
And remember, this deep dive is just the starting point.
Right.
We've only scratched the surface of what's out there. If you're feeling inspired to learn more, definitely check out the Routledge Handbook of Regenerative Tourism.
Yeah, it's a great resource.
It's packed with insights, inspiration, and practical guidance.
For sure.
It's like a roadmap for the future of travel.
Yeah.
And speaking of the future, I'm curious, dear listener, what about you? If you were to design a regenerative tourism experience in your own community, what would it look like? What hidden gems would you share with the world?
That's a wonderful question to ponder. And remember, there are no limits to your imagination.
Right.
Regeneration is about creativity. It's about innovation. It's about reconnecting with the magic and wonder of the world around us.
So go out there, explore, dream big, and make your travels matter.
Yeah, have fun.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of regenerative tourism.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, happy travels.